What up, though, everybody? This is another episode of the Pop Culture 223. We're back in the building. I got the homie, the bear on the ones and twos again.
What up, though?
And I got a special guest for y'all, man. This is one of my homies. I've been knowing her for a long time, and I got her on here for two reasons. She got a story to tell, so we're gonna get into that. But also because I respect her game, her hustle. She owns a company called the Printheads.
Okay.
Now the Printheads, they do screen printing, embroidery, clothing brands. You got a brand or whatever. She's your lady.
Anyway, then.
She's your lady. Okay. But what I admired, because she worked in the corporate world, and she stopped working in the corporate world to jump into her own business. Okay. Now, mind you, I was picking up clothes from the crib on the block. She was in the trench, in the trap, making clothes. And then she bought a building. Okay. And she bought a second building within, I want to say, 2-3 weeks.
Making the moves. Okay,
she was making moves.
I like it so far.
She went from couple figures to double figures to triple figures. You know, so she up there, she making.
So she kind of like the blueprint then, huh?
Man, let me tell you, she got a story to tell. She definitely, I admire the hustle.
Okay.
Believe me, I've been, my mama know her, family know everybody. But she also is family too because her husband, Mike McDougall, his father was my football coach.
Gotcha.
Back in the day for the Broncos, and he bleeds green and gold. So we've been knowing the McDougalls and them for a long time. Okay. And it's ironic because his dad, Mike's dad, it's like he sells T-shirts at the field.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Okay. So it's just funny that Mike now sells T-shirts.
Right.
Full circle.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Full circle. So I'm gonna let her introduce herself, and then I'm gonna take it from there. So go ahead.
No, thank you. Thank you so much for that, Kevin. Like you said, I feel like
for you.
I've known you like forever and a day. I mean, he knew, like you said, he knew me when I was in the gutter. So, no, I appreciate that. I always appreciate my day one so much. I'm Jana McDougall, and I am the founder and the CEO of the Printheads. Okay. So we specialize in doing embroidery, custom prints, and we print for people all over the world. You know, it's crazy. I started out with $500 and just a dream, and now here we are, and I got a multi-million-dollar business. So the business is going crazy, and I just give all the credit to God, and just being focused, hard work, and just staying in my lane.
That's what's up.
Amen.
Yep,
I want to go back. Say CEO and what else? Say she's a black woman CEO of her own company.
Hell yeah. And hey, I was about to say, we don't got the class, but she get a few shots for that one.
We don't do. Yeah, this show is about that titty bang bang. We do shots
for that, man. That's
for sure.
Ooh,
so what did you do in the corporate world? What was the...
Yeah, the corporate world, it seemed like that was a lifetime ago, really, But no, I used to be a investment executive. I was a stockbroker. I did the stocks, the bonds, the mutual funds. I was managing money and, just helping people create wealth just, across the board.
You still know how to do that?
I still know how to do it. I do it for myself. I don't practice for anybody else, but I do it for myself.
I might need a couple tips here.
Hey, I told you she multifaceted, bro. This is a triple threat over here.
That's what's up.
And a mom, and a wife, with kids.
There you go. That's what's up.
Yeah, so that's my corporate story. You know what? And then I had I got to a place where I wasn't happy. I wasn't feeling it. And I mean, wasn't happy is probably an understatement. I think I was probably more so just depressed. I would be in work every day. I'd be crying. I'd be like, okay, I'm in my office, door closed before a client come. And I'm like, what am I doing? And, I had got this, one of my homegirls, she was like, I had a dream about you last night. And something just telling me to tell you to step out and step up. And I'm like, oof, okay, step out and step up. All right, that's scary. So then, we always looking for excuses, for reasons not to do the big thing.
Right.
And so I talked to my husband, Mike, and I'm like, yeah, I'm thinking about just kind of walking away and just start my own thing. Now, I was really expecting him to say, no, we can't do that right now, no. And he was like, do it. And I was like, well, shoot, now I really got to do it now. Like, I done talked all of this stuff. I got to back it up.
Right.
So I was like, all right, I'm about to do it. So I'm like, if I can work hard for them, let me see what I can do for myself at the end of the day. If I fail, then I fail. And I just go right back into what I was doing. I had a degree, I had experience. And so, I could fall right back into it. But if I didn't try, that was the thing that would have got me.
You never know until you try.
Right.
Mhm,
You'd have been like, what if I woulda, what if I woulda? But so many of us is in that
In that boat.
Like I need to try something else to do something else because I'll be there too. I'm like, man, I'll get tired of coming here working hard and only getting these little pennies. If I know if I'm out here working hard for myself or grinding myself, I appreciate it more than you know what I'm saying, and then it'll just come back.
Oh yeah.
So that's what I admired about her hustle, bro. When I'm talking about she grinding it all the way up. I'm literally like she had at the crib, had a building, then had another building. I'm like, wait a minute.
That's how you do it, man.
She like, Kev, you should just jump in and start screaming. She didn't even, some people don't support or say jump in this business because they don't want the competition. Right. She was like, no, get in it, do this. You know what I'm saying? So
we'll talk later. Help me with something because I got something to. Yeah.
You got something?
I found the craziest thing though, y'all, is like, it wasn't really the fear of failing. For me, it was more so the fear of succeeding. It's like, everybody is comfortable and used to failing. If it didn't work out, I would have got pats on the back. It's okay, Jay. It's all good. Whatever. You tried. And so we're used to that, and that's okay. Right. It's just now, what if it works? Now, what do I do? Right. That was a scary part for me.
But then also, you had a great man that had a great leader that he, his father, Mike, so he supported you. Right. So that love and support made you feel like I can get this done.
The support is always
that black love and Black Alex told, look, my wife said, hey, I got you, boo. Don't worry about this. Take care what you got to take care. Come back. She had a degree. She was in the business world, so she had another avenue just in case that, didn't work. But it did, so.
There it is,
triple times fold.
There it is, man.
Amen.
Gotta get a shout-outs, man,
Hey, but let me ask you this. So, look. So the business did it win an award?
Yeah, so we were nominated as best of the best for Detroit Free Press.
Okay.
And so we, number one, I didn't even realize that we were up for the nomination. And so the fact that, everybody just came out and they voted and they put us into the number one spot. Right there, that's just mind blowing to me, just to be like literally when I, and I can visualize it. And I know Kevin, he could visualize it himself because literally he was on my porch, literally picking up boxes of stuff,
The baby's right there like, hey.
I know, baby.
The baby's like, hey. I'm like, what up, dog? I'm just grabbing the bag. I'm going,
I'm getting the bag and I'm out.
So that was it, and so just to really see how things evolve and, and really just for, just to be inspired, just to continue to encourage myself and inspire myself for what's next, because I didn't see this coming. So who knows what's next, So I'm excited about that.
Hey, I seen her. I was like, hey, I think she was also on Forbes Black Entrepreneur List.
It's coming. It's coming. Speak that.
Speak it into existence. Put it in the universe.
Couple millionaires, magazine and all that. But yeah, I used to go up there, man, grab my stuff, and I'd be like checking her, like, you all right? Because she be in there by herself with the babies on the tablet. One baby sleep on the couch. Right. I'm like, you good? Yeah. Like, you good up here, buddy? You good? Like, I like get my stuff. Like, you good? She's like, yeah, I'm good. People coming in, and I'm just like, all right, Right. So I'm checking. Right. I'm grabbing stuff, but I'm checking. Right. You know what I'm saying? So
look out for your peoples.
Yeah, any black woman I'm gonna look out for. I don't care if I don't gotta know you. I'm there because I already know what the situation is.
Exactly. We know.
Yeah, definitely. But this is we going to this other topic she want to talk about, and I definitely wanted to get this information out. Because I seen it on her IG and her stories, but I kept getting it like bits and pieces. But I was reading something, and this is crazy, on June 2nd in Colorado. Okay. And this is gonna go into like some, the topic that another topic of a background or something she's involved in right now. Okay. On June 2nd, a father, I don't know, well, he might not have seen it, in Colorado, was abducted, right?
A father was?
A father was abducted from his job.
Damn.
He sent a text to his wife and said, "I've been abducted, call the police and call 911, whatever. What wound up happening is that the guy that abducted, I guess he might have been going through some situational issues. So he wound up killing the father and then killing himself.
Damn.
But the crazy thing about it was he was abducted or whatever, snatched, kidnapped. He showed pictures of the abductor, like he was sitting next to him. So he showed pictures of that. And then he also was sending text to the police. He was communicating, letting them know, like, look, this is where I'm at. This is what's going on. But nobody helped the lady out responded until he got killed
Till
because
after
they
the
heard the
fact.
shot to after
Yeah.
the facts.
Mm.
And I'm just like, look, is 911 a joke? Like, they say they're here to protect, but it's like an after fact. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? It's like, I'm going to call you and see, regardless, okay, I know
Right.
you could be in a situation where it's not a lot of police officers or you spread thin, but like we was talking with Dre said, you got an alley-oop here. Like, my husband's in the car with this dude.
Right.
He don't know. Can we send
Right.
help? Now, we
Right.
talking about in Colorado, not to say that if that happened in Detroit, in the urban more area,
Right.
would they respond different?
Right.
Like, we don't know that,
Right.
right? But it's just like, I was just thinking, I was reading it because it came up on this text feed I'm in. I was just like, man, is 911 a joke?
Mm.
Like, bro, if I call 911 to help me out, to say, this is happening, my brother here, there, and y'all don't get there till after, he's shot or killed, maybe the time, they were trying to respond, I couldn't.
Right.
But damn. I
Right.
call help because this is what y'all told me to do.
Mm-hmm.
But then now here's the fact y'all responding after the fact.
See, man, and that's just before we get fully deep into it, but that's why, I know both of us feel this way, that it's important for us to be our own first responder, in all facets of the whole thing. Because not saying that something like that still can't happen, but it's just still having the tools and the knowledge to be better at making it not happen. You know what I mean? Anytime you train for it to make that situation not be relevant to you, I think is what's best. And I'm an advocate. We talk about it. That everybody be trained up. Even if you afraid of guns, it don't have to be with just guns. Just in period of situation awareness. Things like that, and how to use and do and other tools, and how to use a pen as a weapon if need be, or your hands, whatever it may be, but just having that, awareness to everything
I
as
think
well.
it's to me, and I'm just gonna throw all the tools out, like anything you can use to help you defend yourself is cool. I think we gotta come to the realization, the mindset. Like, look,
That's what I'm saying.
you gotta
Yeah.
be, regardless. I'm using my hands. You gotta be willing
Mm-hmm.
to not be the victim, regardless of
Exactly.
situation. Like, if you
Exactly.
going, I'm not gonna get in the car with you to
Mhm.
drive somewhere for you to kill me off site.
Right.
You're gonna do it right here.
Right.
You're gonna have to be bold enough.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not getting in the trunk. I'm not getting in the back seat.
Right.
We're gonna have to be bold enough to take me right here. And it just is
that's
what
I'm
it
saying,
is.
the mindset with the
That's,
situation.
it gotta be switched. Like,
Yeah.
look, I gotta get home to my kids.
Yeah.
I gotta do whatever I gotta do. You're gonna take me right here.
Right.
It just is what it is.
Right.
I'm not going on a ride with you.
Right.
He got in the car, not saying whatever. He probably could have thought he could have talked the guy out of the
Yeah.
situation.
We don't know the
We don't
circumstance,
know the situation.
and that's why I'm giving the broad, spectrum of, or the the brushstroke, or however it's said, about that. But yeah, I
But
agree.
it just happened. It's just crazy because the topic we're gonna talk about today,
Right.
and then it came through the little text feed. I was like, dude, he got abducted in the car.
Yeah.
Send word to 911. This is
Mhm.
where I'm at, and they couldn't respond or didn't respond in the
Mhm.
time manner, whatever. I don't know all details. It's still
Right.
an ongoing investigation.
Right.
But I was like, man, like, dude, are they a joke? Now Jay may have another opinion on that.
Mm.
And Jay, and I want you to talk. I want you to tell the story from the beginning, kind of, sorta, and like usually I had questions
Mhm.
to ask, deeper, but I just think I want you to tell the story, and then Bear will just jump in and ask questions.
Yeah.
I kind of filled you in a little bit.
Yeah.
About it, and then I got some questions to ask, but just go ahead and hit the story.
Yeah.
About what happened to your sister, and this was in D.C., right?
Yep.
What, this was a year ago?
Yep. A year ago. Yep. March of 2022. So it's crazy. We just opened up everything talking about just a brief little bio about me, and that is just kind of how my brand has. That's how it's been up to March,
Mhm.
honestly. And then my identity shifted because I just had this complete traumatic event that happened.
Mhm.
And, I still feel like I'm like walking in some type of a movie. It just doesn't
Mhm.
seem for real. But back in March of 2022, I got a phone call from my mother. My mother and my sister, they had been talking. It was a Sunday night, I remember. I want to say, let me back up. It was February 27th, I want to say,
Okay.
of 2022. My mom and my sister, they were on the phone. And so my sister had just, met someone. She was met this woman in the parking lot of this hotel. Now, my sister, she was staying in a hotel, kind of like an extended stay because she was getting her home remodeled. So she
Mhm.
lived right down the street. She had like 100-year-old house, and so things just
Mhm.
needed to be done. So she was like, "Let me just stay just about a mile or two away from the house, so I can pop in and out, but this is where I'm gonna be." So, she was staying there. So, single woman, she's divorced. It wasn't her week with the kids. So, her and her ex husband, they had, dual parenting time. So, she's walking in one evening, met this woman. This woman approached her in the
Parking lot of the hotel.
parking lot of the hotel. And she had a 6-month-old child.
Mm.
And so she's, said to my sister, I'm in a domestic violence situation. I've been put out. Can you please help me? It
Mm-hmm.
was cold. Can you just give us some shelter for the night?
Mm-hmm.
And so my mom was picking up on this conversation. So then I'm kind of like I'm big sis slash mom. So,
Right.
my mom calls me like, can you call your sister? Because she got some random girl with her and I don't know what's wrong with her. So I called my sister at that point. I had a conversation. We probably talked for a good hour. And I'm like, that doesn't seem right, Kayla. My sister's, name was Kayla. That doesn't seem right, Kay. Letting somebody in your personal space. She don't
Mm-hmm.
have no family. Is she on drugs? I mean, just what's going on? I
Right.
just, this just doesn't seem right.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, I just want to help her, Jay. No,
Good spirit.
everything is all good. I just, I can't let this baby just sit out here in the cold.
Mm-hmm.
And so, we talked some more and everything, and I got some more information and all of that stuff. And I was like, I said, Kayla, I just want you to be safe. And she was like, I got this, Jay. And I said, well, okay. We text again probably till about midnight. I went on to sleep, and then the next day I woke up and sent a text message, and I didn't hear back, which wasn't abnormal because at
Mm-hmm.
this point now we talk about Monday. Monday is the
Right.
grind for everybody. She up
Right.
and out to work. I'm up and out to work. We
Right.
we doing our thing. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday went by. By the following Monday, we got a call from her job, and she worked for the Aspen Institute out in DC. And it's a nonprofit organization there, and she was like so dedicated to her job that they're like, okay, she hasn't been here an entire week. What's up?
Mm-hmm.
So much so that they didn't dismiss it. They called to figure out what's happening. So
Right.
they called. We got the phone call that she hadn't been to work in a week. We, at that point, everybody, we're in Michigan. We spring into action. We calling, we blowing her
Right.
up. She's
Right.
not answering the phone. And so then, we're calling some of her friends out there in DC, and we end up getting one of her friends, that was between a three-way with me, my mother, and my sister's friend. Um, we're all trying our phone numbers, trying to call, and they answered the phone. The abductors actually answered the phone, my
Mm.
sister's phone. So they answered my sister's phone. And while they answered my sister's phone, they're like, she's in the back seat sleep at this point in time. They're not making it seem like there's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
She's in the back seat sleep. As soon as she wakes up, we'll give her the phone. And we looking like, no, this is my sister's
Right.
phone. Give her the phone
Right.
now.
Right. Wake
What
her
are
up
we,
and give her the phone.
what are
Right.
we doing? So, then at that point, they're like, well, you know, um, we spent a lot of money, buying hotels and all of this stuff. And so, she owes us $1,000. And so now my sister, she had money. It wasn't
Right.
that she didn't have any. She had a whole paycheck coming in. In fact,
Right.
after she died, she had a whole paycheck that was waiting for her.
Right.
So it wasn't like she didn't have anything.
Right.
And so, they're saying that she needed $1,000, but by this point, we're like, okay, it really is a problem. I hear,
Right. Right.
in the background, you can audibly hear, um, you can hear a baby, like sounds of a baby. You can
Mm-hmm.
also hear my sister making like moans and groans.
Mm-hmm.
So, at this point, I'm on the phone. I'm like, Kayla, can you hear me? Where are you? Where are you? She happened to get out the words 7-Eleven. And then she was like, it was almost like she was very disoriented. And she's
Mm-hmm.
just 7-Eleven is how she said it. And then I'm like, 7-Eleven? You're at 7-Eleven? And then the phone hung up.
Mm.
And so, I'm thankful that, the my sister's friend, she had been recording the conversation. So we have all of these audio clips,
Mm.
of the abductors and us, them answering the phone for us. So when the phone went dead from that point, we're like, okay, now we really got a problem.
Right.
So, yep.
So let me ask you the question. So a lot of what you was getting from your sister, this was out of the ordinary off rip. Like, because she was already staying at an extended stay because our house was, so for them to say, well, we're we didn't spend a lot of money on hotels. That was a key. That was a
Right. That's
that
the
was
key right
that's a
there.
key right there. Like, what you mean? She was at one. Why she need to spend money on a bunch of?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah,
And,
why
and,
she need to
and,
spend money on a lot of
and
hotels?
was planning on being there for a while, so
right.
money ain't the issue for
Money
that.
was an
That's-
issue.
yeah,
She was already going. It
yeah,
wasn't like she was moving out
yeah,
looking for a new place.
yeah. It was planned for her to be there, so she had money allotted or set aside, and yeah,
Right. So that was like that was out of the
yeah,
ordinary.
Mm-hmm.
So you peeped that right off the beginning
Peeped it
because you knew how
right
your
after
sister
that.
moved.
Exactly.
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
Exactly. So just to take a brief step back, before we got to that point, my mother had received earlier that week, the week that we hadn't really corresponded with her. My mom had received a couple of text messages from my sister's phone saying that she needed a couple cash apps. So my mama, what the mama gonna do? They're gonna send you the cash app,
Right,
right?
right.
So, my mom sent her a couple $100 in cash app.
Mhm.
Again, odd request, but still, the way it was worded, I need this
Right.
real quick, mom. I give it right back to you. Cool. All right, send it. I guess the money got sent too easy because then immediately following, oh, I need a couple hundred more.
Mm.
So my mom, when I say my mom is probably like the nicest person like I've ever met in my life. So she
She sent it.
she sent it.
It's mama. What
Me,
she
I'd have been
gonna
like,
do?
It's
why?
mama, right,
I
right.
would have been asking more questions. But my mom,
Right.
she's like, okay, let me send it. And again, it was sent again too easy, so it was asked the third time. And now at this point, my mom was like, call me. This is weird. This
Right.
doesn't sound right. And she didn't receive a phone call. So, she just thought, okay, well, I'll talk to her later. We'll revisit. So that started to play back in our minds when, we were right in this situation where we knew that she was with some strange people
Mhm.
at the time, not really putting together the pieces that she had quite been abducted. But, at this point, things are just not looking good. So we called the police.
Mhm.
Well, let me back up before we call the police. So my sister's friend, she tries the phone number again and reaches them and calls them. My mom is on three-way at this point. She's just muted, and so they start talking about the $1,000 that my sister owes them. And so by this point, we're like, we'll get you the $1,000. No,
Mhm.
no big deal. Just tell us where she is, and then we'll come and pick her up, and then we'll give you the $1,000. And so they gave us an address.
Mhm.
And so this address that they gave us in DC, it was right on in a popular area where one of the metros are, and so there should be plenty of cameras and all that stuff. But one of her friends, one of her guy friends, knew of the area because he's from there.
Mhm.
He actually grew up in that particular area. So
Right.
we sent him out because he's a big guy. We didn't want
Mhm.
to send the lady friend because we just didn't want to
Right.
put her in harm's way.
Right.
So we called the police, told them what was going on. My sister's guy friend, he drove out and drove down the street, actually verified that my sister's car was there, saw people in the car. But the reason he didn't stop is because it was a false address. So it was like almost like a vacant lot and like,
Mm.
two houses on the other
Mhm.
side. And so this address that they had given wasn't a real address,
Doesn't
right?
exist. Right.
Doesn't exist. And so he was like, you know what? I'm not, this vibe is off. I'm not going to stop. We're talking to him. If I'm not going to stop, I'm going to circle the block and wait for the police to come because I'm going to wait to approach when the police approaches, which I
Mhm.
thought was wise.
Right.
And so, meanwhile,
But
the
did he
po-
know the? I don't. I, did he know everything was going on? Did he know the the level we're at right now?
he knew the level that we were at. He knew the level we were at. He just
I mean,
felt like
I
he was
ain't
going to be
going. It is
ambushed.
what it is.
Right.
It is. I got you.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. He felt, so, right. I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
So,
Ding,
yeah.
bro, pull up on me. I got it on me. Pull up on me. Okay, it is. Go ahead.
Right. So I know I feel you. But so the police, what they did, and to your point, is 911 a joke? And I'm not here to discredit law enforcement. I'm definitely not one of those people. But I just feel like we've been failed in so many different ways throughout
Mhm.
this entire process that I want to. They have to prove to me that they're not a joke at this point, just because of how everything continues to just move forward. So we called the police. The police, I think the first thing that you do is you go out there and you investigate, especially when, you understand that this is an abductee type of a situation.
Mhm.
And instead of doing that, they actually called my sister's cell phone. They identified themselves as the police and stated that they were doing a wellness check. Well, my sister wasn't answering the phone. It was the abductors that were answering the phone. They realized the police were calling. They cut the phone off and they left. By the
Mm.
time that my sister's friends circled the block again, they were already gone.
Mm.
So that's botch, rescue attempt number one that happened.
But now, I guess too, like you said, we don't want to discredit like 911. So they probably get a million calls. Who knows if everyone checks out to be what it is at the time? It's just an unfortunate situation that one was a
Right.
real
It was
tip,
legitimate.
legitimate. Not, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But yeah, I just want to put that in. But go ahead.
Yeah. So they circled the block. So we lost 24 hours, from that point.
Right.
So throughout that night, we were still continuously calling, phone just going straight to voicemail. At this point, we've lost contact altogether. What's happening behind the scenes that we didn't quite realize at that time, that night, uh, the police had been called again because in a different neighborhood, in a rough area in DC, there was a woman that was calling complaining about a suspicious car that had been
Mm.
parked right outside her house with the window down and someone in the car arguing. And she needed the police to come out and investigate because it was just
Mm.
random and people just didn't leave their cars like that, parked on the street like that. So
Right.
she called to have them come out and investigate. She saw, and they caught it on their Ring door cam, somebody running from the car and running into another car, across the street. So when she got up the morning, she saw the car still there with the window down in the back. And so she called the police again in the morning. Said, this car is still here. It should be investigated.
Was it one? Did they say one or two people still in the car or just?
At that time, it wasn't anybody else.
It was
She
just the
couldn't,
car.
it was just the car. She couldn't visually see anyone in there. And so the police, they still hadn't made it out at that point either. The lady went on, did her business throughout the day, went to work, took care of everything she had to take care of. By the time she got home, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, the car's still there. She calls yet again. This car is still here. Somebody needs to come out and investigate. So we have a cousin, that lives in Virginia. That once he got word of what was going on, I mean, when I say he hit the streets, I mean he wasn't waiting on police. He
Yeah,
was
the
he was
block.
he was doing exactly what you were saying.
The
He
block.
wasn't
Yeah.
waiting. So he was literally driving every single street,
Mhm.
around the area where she was last known, saying that he was just so dedicated to finding her car that oddly he pulled up around, let's say about 5:30, 6 o'clock. He pulled up at this very same time that the police arrived to investigate the suspicious vehicle. So when he pulled up, he calls my phone, he FaceTimes me. So I feel like I'm right there. I feel, so I'm not I don't feel like this is hearsay. I'm
Mhm.
seeing this with my actual eyes.
Right.
So he pulls up and he's like, "Oh my God, Jay, I found her. I found her. I found her." And so when he gets to the car, the back seat of the door is open. What we saw now, this is what caused, I believe, I did a story about this on TikTok, and now I want to say it has close to like 3 million views.
Okay.
So it went like crazy viral. But I want to say it's because of the visual that I had, because there was a screenshot of what we really saw. The state of my sister. We saw it right there. So what we saw, so I can describe it here, was she was in the back seat of her car, not anybody else's, in the back seat of her car, with a sheet thrown on top of her on the floor.
Mm.
She had her arms up as if she had a trauma. This is a
Mhm.
trauma response, as
Mhm.
if she was trying to protect herself, and her arms were stuck this way.
Oh yeah.
She had her face. She was unrecognizable, so you could tell that she had been beaten. But her hair, she had dreads in her hair. Half of her hair was pulled out on one side and thrown into the front seat of her car.
Mm.
So, the EMS, they took my sister. At this point in time, she's still alive, barely, but she's,
Mm.
she's still alive. And when they got her out the vehicle, my cousin was there. He recorded everything from start to finish. All I heard in the audio, in the recording, and all I saw was maybe little faint moans and groans, but nothing audible, nothing. She wasn't verbalizing
Right.
anything. I didn't
Right.
hear. So we get to, that she gets to the hospital. Ultimately, my mother and I flew out to DC. We got to see her, and 24 hours after that, she died. So she
Mm.
coded. But the thing is that, on day one, they weren't investigating it as a crime. And the reason that they weren't investigating it as a crime was because they said that they have on video cam that she said that she fell down the stairs. So they said, well, we have her last dying testament stating that she fell down the stairs.
Mm.
No criminal activity happened. So, I don't think that there's a crime here. Took a lot of pushing. We had to get the chief of police at the time. He's no longer the chief of police now. Conti. He, with connections that we had, we were able to get him to kind of push things forward and them to actually start to move forward a little bit with the investigation. But the fact that they're still holding on to the homicide detectives, it's in DC's, homicide department currently.
Mhm.
But the fact that, they're still using that, saying that it's really hard for them to investigate this as a murder because of her last dying testament being that she fell down the stairs. I just don't understand how that was even possible. When I talked to the attending that was at the that was at the hospital, he said that she wasn't verbal. She hadn't been verbal at all since she had been there.
Mm.
What I saw on the FaceTime, I don't even understand how that could have happened. But, let me just, again, not trying to bash and say folks are lying. I never want to call nobody a liar, but in the event that she did say something like that, how could she have fallen down the stairs, jumped in her car,
Drove somewhere.
now she lived in Maryland, y'all. So we talking about she drove
Right.
across state lines. I understand the state lines are like, literally just to
Yeah.
jump across the street, but
Yeah,
still.
literally like this.
Right, exactly.
It's like Virginia,
Yeah.
Maryland, yeah. But still.
But still, how,
yeah.
she gonna leave her house, jump in the car,
Yeah.
drive to a neighborhood that she has no idea, she knows no one there,
Mhm.
put herself in the back seat, throw a sheet on top of her, and remove her hair and throw it on the
Right.
front seat somehow, some way throughout this entire process.
Right.
I just don't understand it.
But when the autopsy or whatever showed that she had been beaten or bruised outside of what a falling down
Right.
some steps, and then
Right.
where she fall down the steps at the extended stay,
Right.
and then what the extended stay didn't see it or that's not on
Right.
camera.
Right.
Like
Right.
it's a lot of mystery.
It's a lot of
Right.
mystery. They're saying that she said she fell down the stairs in her home, but again, she wasn't staying in her home.
Right.
But she so in terms of the mystery and and all that stuff, yeah, that's for sure there. But the autopsy report, it did say that she died of blunt force trauma to the head. But not only
Mm.
that, she had the autopsy report states that she had the blunt force trauma. She had ligature marks around her neck.
Oh,
She had
it's,
2 black eyes. She had 2 broken jaws.
mm.
She had ligature marks around her wrists. So, again, it just really feels like this was a case that was not going to be investigated because she was kind of put into a category of the types of people that stay at hotels. Not to mention that she may not have been the right color to investigate. And
Right.
again, I'm also not one of those people either but the reality is the reality.
Right.
And sometimes, we as a
Optics
people,
matter.
sometimes
Yeah.
we're not investigated, thoroughly enough, I would say that.
Well, even an investigator would have seen her background. She was a mother, right?
Right.
She's a mother.
What?
Yeah, 2.
Two boy, girl. What?
Boy and a girl, yeah.
Works for a nonprofit.
Yeah, yeah.
That works for a nonprofit. Have work done to her house. She had to
Right.
stay at
She had a
extended
home.
stay.
Mhm.
So it's kind of a paper trail to show why she was
Right.
there.
Right.
She went at extended stay to I don't know what you
Right.
thought she was there for,
Right.
but to not even investigate that. How do you even take somebody's word like at a hospital that she could have just popped up an idea in her head said she felt some steps. And they took that as being like that's not even understandable. How I wouldn't even took that as being
Yeah. That's
her
this.
last dying testimony.
Exactly.
This is just straight up neglect on that part. That's see, man, and that's the thing that gets me mad about hearing this or hearing a story like that. It's just that
Oh, I was mad.
it's it's the so and I'm the same way. I'm not one to bash police. I have friends that are police. You know what I'm saying? I've got my own connections to, law enforcement and so forth and so forth. But like they tell us and I'm one of the advocates of this, there are bad apples in the police that make people of color and people in our neighborhood and our community say all police are bad because literally it takes those few or so many bad apples to make it look bad. Just like the same way I look at and say that us as black folks, the same kind of way. Like while we saying that about them, they saying that about us because it's enough of us doing stupid stuff. So now we do have those I'm not triggered, but those
Stereotypes.
stereotypes. Thank you. That where literally when they see, that's the whole thing of they see 3-4 in the car, pull them over because of yada 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 and so forth, so forth. But my point is like it's just to still hear, I don't care who you are, you would still think you would want to do your job, knowing and hearing this whole story or how this paper trail unfolds to say, okay, I don't care how I feel about black people or how I feel about this type of thing, whatever, whatever. As a career move, if I figure this out, if I'm selfish enough to think, and I'm that's not me, but I'm sitting up here thinking it this way. If I'm selfish enough to, for as a career move, if I figure this out, dog, shoot, I might be chief in a month.
Knowing that you probably got some unsolved cases that you don't have no clue, no tips.
That's what I'm saying.
You got this one in the bag.
I basically and it may not be in the bag, but it's so
Oh,
close.
it's gonna be in the bag when she finished telling you what everything else happened.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm just talking about
Yeah.
from the point
Right.
of which we're. Yeah, I'm just saying I'm so close enough to already from what she said, from it being in the bag. I'm gonna figure out everything else. You know what I'm saying? So that's a career move for you, right? So you would think somebody would want to do, you know what I'm saying? But
Well, and to that point, strategically thinking, that would have been a wise move to make.
That's what I'm saying.
Unfortunately, and it's just what I feel. It's just what I feel. Not that I've been told this or they've said this in any way.
Personal opinion. Yeah.
So it's definitely my opinion. But I feel like if they knew all of the facts about her, they knew the type of family that she came
Mhm.
from. She knew I mean, she had little to no family out in D.C. So it
Mhm.
almost looked as if the police, they have referenced the term to me more times than I can count. People that live a transient lifestyle are
Mm.
sometimes hard to find.
Mm.
So the fact that you are now categorizing not only the abductors as people who live in a transit lifestyle, but
Mhm.
I'm assuming that you have probably grouped, or you did at one point group my sister into
Mhm.
the type of people that live a transit lifestyle,
And what do they mean by transit lifestyle?
in and out of hotels, basically homeless.
Yeah.
Yeah. They
Yeah.
should have the bank account showed that wasn't true. You know what I'm saying? But
Again, putting them puzzle pieces together. That's
But you guys, I mean, and we provided so much evidence to the detectives. We were just absolute open books. I mean, when I say in the beginning we were so gung ho, what do you need? What do you need us to do? I scheduled weekly meetups, virtual meetups with the detective just to make sure that things were progressing, things were moving along. So he knew that at least Big Sis was just on it,
right.
to the point where I was annoying. But he I had to do things, simple things. I had to say, okay, wait, so have we pulled the phone records?
Mhm.
I know for a fact, y'all, that they had her phone after she had died. Everything, she had died on March
They
11th.
still have her effects and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say, how people send messages. They were
Mhm.
still being marked as read days after she had died. So it's like,
Mm.
okay, so somebody has her phone, so can we ping the cell phone towers? I was
Right.
told that's not possible. The people who work in there, that office is open basically from 9 to 5, and it only pings within a 10-mile radius, and the phone has to be turned on exactly at that time. And then if it is, there has to be a unit to be able to be dispatched out to that place. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, I guess the movies, they lie. So then, so I was
They
like,
do,
okay,
but yeah.
yeah. So I'm like, okay, so okay, well, okay, that's fine. So what about the phone records? Have we looked at the phone records? Oh, I haven't had a chance to subpoena those yet. But maybe it will be faster if you go down there and get the phone records. I'm side eyeing, but yet still, I'm like, okay, whatever it takes. I mean, I'm not authorized on the account to get those phone records, but here I am talking about I'm the mama trying to get her phone records, try to get this so I can
Right.
help, any way I can.
Doing a
Um,
job that's not.
do the job. It's not my
It's not
job,
your job. Right.
And then, so, lastly, I'm like, if there is not one thing, if there's not one smoking gun, the one that there is the Cash App report. And
Right.
so I'm like, where's follow the money? You follow the money, you find it all.
Right.
And so,
That's from previous corporate history.
Right.
yeah,
Cor-
yeah,
corporate
you
job.
you find it all. So, the Cash App reports, I did have one conversation with the detectives. When I say they have been totally unresponsive, it's not even funny. But I had a conversation with them this past week. And they, to this date, still have not pulled the Cash App reports.
Mm.
And so I spoke with the lieutenant as well as the lead detective on the case, and almost demanded by, July the 8th, that I need to have some type of information
Mhm.
on this Cash App, because why is it taking so long
Right.
to get the Cash App reports? Like I said, that right there should be open and shut.
Right.
Open and shut case. But, so that's the paper trail of it all. But, you listen to the audios, not only inside of the audios, the woman, she gives so many clues. She identified herself as T. That was her
Mhm.
name that she was given. We know that, based on her account, that she lost a child, a couple years prior, and that she had just recently buried her mother. And so, those things, when I say, y'all, I didn't realize the power of social media now until I took this story and it went crazy.
Mhm.
The social media detectives are real,
Oh
y'all.
yeah.
They
Oh
went
yeah.
out there and
Oh yeah.
they were sending me messages. Could this be her? Could this be her? And so those things I try to, again, and I'm not on any platform. You won't find me pointing out or even naming the particular social media page that has been sent to me by various internet
Mhm.
detectives. But you won't find me doing that because I just don't know. I don't know it's
Right.
fact.
Right.
But if there is a reason, let me just send it over to them so that
Right.
they
So
can
investigate
take
and
a
do their
look.
job.
They
Take
Right.
a
use
look.
they use it.
Right.
They
Yeah. They'll use it in a minute.
they're using it
You
in a
know.
minute.
In a minute. Yeah. Let you post some more crazy stuff on there. They'll be like, "Oh, okay, cool. You're gonna be on such and such." Bet. Got
hmm
you.
But tell us about and I seen this on the Facebook about the hotel,
Yeah.
about somebody pulling up about the EBT card.
Yeah. Finish the story.
Yeah, yeah. So my sister once she died, my mother, she was just like, I just got to get about this city. So we booked a flight and we headed straight home. So we just couldn't take another second there.
Mhm.
But my cousin, like I said, he lives in Virginia, so he was still so on fire, and still very much so traumatized from just that full 24 hours that we had
Right.
just lived through.
Right.
And he went back up to the hotel. He went back up to the very last hotel to try to do some more investigative work. Spoke with the hotel attendant and, basically said, my cousin, she just died, X, Y, and Z. And this is, she was at this hotel with these people. Do you recognize her? The hotel attendant said, yeah, I do. Yeah, I recognize her. Yep, I remember seeing them. In fact, these people, they left their EBT card here, so they should be back. So this was a Sunday, again, and um, at this time, my cousin, now he's blowing me up. Call the police, call the police. I'm gonna sit up here until the police arrive
Mhm.
because they have to come back. They left their EBT card. So I'm blowing up the homicide detective, y'all. Blowing his phone up. I mean, I probably called this man about 100 times. It's
Mhm.
calling, texting. There's no, there is no misunderstanding as to the reason why I'm trying to get in touch with you.
Right.
It's plain as day. He didn't call me back at all that day, nor did I hear from him for a few days after that. And he just gave me his apologies that he was just not available. But my cousin literally sat there. I want to say it had to be between 4 and 6 hours. He sat outside of
Mhm.
this hotel, just waiting on the police and waiting to see if somebody were to walk in or not. Meanwhile, we are trying to sit there and tell my cousin, don't get yourself in no trouble,
Right.
confronting nobody because, we don't want we don't want the case to get blown up. We also don't want anything to happen to you, and so he saw, people walk in, he thought could have been them. He, based on our advice, he did not go after him, which again, I still stand very strongly behind that because what would he have done? He could have done the unthinkable, and then he would have been having a whole nother story about him being locked up somewhere.
Right. That's the bad part. And that's what it'd been. It'd
You
been a
know?
blown up case, and it'd been he did some vigilante
Yep.
stuff, this, that, and the third.
Yep.
But
So he literally had him in their hands, and the police again botched attempt number at this point number 1,000. Because I done lost count.
did he describe them what they look like?
He described. I mean,
He didn't
I
know
want to
how many.
say he did give a description, but he did give a description, but it wasn't that very same day because we didn't get a chance to talk to him that day.
Mhm.
The detectives that day. It was days after that. So it was. So he did describe them, and so the hotel attendant described them also about what they look like. In fact, I mean, my cousin even thought he saw at one point a car parked around down the street when he left of two people sleeping in the car, and there was a baby in the back seat. He took pictures of
Mhm.
them. I sent those license plate and all that. I sent that to the detective. He's not saying that those are the people that walked out of the hotel, but but I mean, he was that.
Personal baby.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe
He
like
just
that,
said.
yeah.
I mean, he's trying to cover all the bases.
Mm-hmm.
That ended up checking out where the license plate number and that they were not a part of it, but
Right, but still,
nonetheless, he was so on it. But in terms of a description, he described what he could, but everybody was operating in trauma. So, things are a little fragmented. I can certainly say that. Hindsight is always 2020. You like, dang, I wish I would have did this, or I wish I would have asked for. A lot of people on social media, they were saying, well, why didn't he take a picture of the EBT card? That would have been, and you're right. He probably kicking himself to this day. Like, why didn't I take a picture of the EBT card? When you in fight or flight, it's
right,
like you
right,
sometimes you think about it,
right.
sometimes you don't, and at this
And this is
point,
not something that you practice. This is not an everyday
Yeah,
occurrence
it's not everyday, but see, and
for us to be on tip on this
yeah,
investigative mode.
and that's the thing, man. Too, that like when I hear stories that are like this, or not as much, but like a similar type of story, for me personally, it gives me more. I don't want to say not knowledge, but it gives me more intuition of things I need to think of or to be, or more or less like we talked about before, to train for or to watch out for. Because, well, I'm not going to say it while we're on the air. We'll talk off about this whole situation off air, but it just more to kind of think of. Because, like you said, when you're in a hostile situation like that, and I'm saying hostile because in your own mind, you're hostile in your mind about what's going on, emotions high, this is that, I'm trying to do, and blah, 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 you all over the place. You know, like you said, you're not thinking about I should have took a picture of this and I should have blah blah blah. So I think that goes along with the training aspect as well. And I hate that the world has to be like it is now, where we're literally training for the worst and expecting the worst, but hoping for the best. You know what I mean? Because it's a preparation thing. And really, when we was kids, we ain't really had to live like that. But now, the world's changing. We got to prep our kids for that too. So
So
we'll talk off air about
did
that.
they have footage
bookmark.
of the people coming in to get the EBT card at the extended stay
That's a
or at
good
the
one.
hotel?
That's a good one.
yeah. So the police, they did say that they went there and they did look at the hotel cameras, and the hotel cameras were blurry, some weren't functional, and technology is great, I guess, until it's not. And in that case, things were not clear enough. So and that's the information I had, that I've received from the homicide department.
Wait a minute, they stay. Wait a minute, they stereotype everybody all the time, especially us. They would have been knocking down. Oh, you look like somebody that might have been on it. You look like somebody. Oh, we might have seen you. Was you at the stand there at this time? They don't care. But at that situation, then it was like, oh, it's blurry. We can't really tell who it is.
I mean, you guys, we're talking about DC. That's where the most powerful person in the world lives, and you mean to tell me stuff is not functioning properly? No, you can't tell me that. I've been there. I see how they shut everything down when the barricade, the
Shut it
motorcades
down.
come through.
Shut it down.
Shut it down. Shut it down.
You think you about to walk across the street?
Okay.
Okay.
Right. So you
Okay.
telling me, right. It was in D.C.
Putting you down ain't off limits when that
You know what?
parade come through.
When it comes through.
For real.
I don't
like,
care where you are, what you're
yeah,
doing, you're about to stop,
yeah,
And so with that, it's like you can't tell me that that city that city and the states, even that border, are not heavily surveilled enough in like the most advanced of the
Mhm.
ways. That I mean, they should have that technology. They can zoom in and
Listen,
they can
even-
see a DNA through
They
that
might not have
technology.
got them going in, but I guarantee you they got some cameras got them coming out.
Right.
Somewhere,
Somewhere,
some
something.
corner, you can't drive down a
Somewhere,
traffic
something.
light in the city
Right.
without a camera on it. You tell me
Right.
they couldn't pull that up if they really wanted to?
They mentioned, throughout the audios, they dropped several landmarks, where they could have been. Like I mentioned, one of which was a really popular metro station, which I know the metro stations are heavily surveilled.
Mhm.
I mean, even taking the tidbit of the 7-Eleven that my sister
Mhm.
dropped. Had they gone to the 7-Eleven to perhaps go to the ATM, or had they done something like that?
Now, was it a 7-Eleven close to the
It
hotel?
was a 7-Eleven close.
See, I wanted to ask that then, but I wanted you to get it out. When
Yeah.
See,
It was a
that's even
7-Eleven close, yeah. And that I don't know if they've done.
cameras there. Every 7-Eleven got cameras. And
Don't the
they
ATM record?
the ATM record, but I ain't even the
Well, maybe
ATM.
not.
I'm
Maybe
just
not.
saying they have cameras there. Dog, you know how many 7-Elevens you probably been to and seen a picture of somebody saying this guy's a thief or
Hmm.
this person or this girl,
Uh-huh.
blah, blah, blah. We not letting them in or we calling the police. So, I mean, every 7-Eleven has cameras everywhere.
Right.
So that's another set of cameras. You know, that's
Now, did the detective say this is like an ongoing thing in this area, or just like the lady was there with the kid to like draw people in and do stuff like this? Was this something like a deploy? They were doing this a lot,
Well, I don't
not a
know.
lot, but
Yeah, right,
just
right. Is it right? Is this
a
some activity
setup.
that they've seen happen, like a pattern or something like
Yeah.
that? They didn't express that to me, but it obviously it was a setup,
mm-hmm.
and they had it down packed. I mean, I'll honestly say I don't think that the intention behind it was for them to ultimately just completely unalive my sister. And I'm learning this whole you got to censor certain words.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't believe that that was their initial intent. Um, because they wouldn't have moved the way that they moved. They were I mean, I say they were sloppy because they left paper trails all over the place, but they wouldn't have moved the way that they moved if they walked in with that intention. I think that
Mm-hmm.
they intended to get as much as she could. So to your point, is this something that this couple and this child, is this something that they had done in the past and they used that to actually rob somebody and then get what they were going to get and then dipped? I mean, it seemed like it came quite easily.
So I'll say this to kind of answer that just from research, knowledge, and then just an understanding of it. Because as a parent, I'm sure we've all as parents look around and think of, you know, and I watch the news. I'm going back to being a kid with my great grandma. I grew up watching the news, so in my 40s, I still watch the news. I don't care how depressing it is, crazy stuff, but it's the knowledge of what's going on. That's the bad thing that Detroit, DC, and a lot of more urban, heavier populated certain cities like that are like hot spots for abductions, um, um, trafficking,
Mm.
kidnappings, and all this stuff is in an effort for trafficking, but it's for that and for extortion type of stuff with that the same kind of way. Because that's basically, in essence, more or less what was going on here was an extortion thing, or at least that's the way it started. But that's how they do it, though. They use somebody like the woman and the baby, or the peaceful, harmless looking people to kind of get you off your square. Because that's the thing. Nobody thinks that, and I'm using her as just the
Mhm.
example, that she comes up and sees us, well, my little one, he's 4. Oh, he's so cute and he blah, 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 do, 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 do. And before you know it, because you got the baby with you and it's just you and the kids out grocery shopping, somebody's the next aisle over is really what's checking out while you distracted here. Like, oh, little baby, blah, blah, blah. That one's here coming in to snatch the little one and they out the door. I forget who it was, and quick, not story, but quick thing on it. I forget who was telling me or where I read this at, but this literally happened. And I can't remember exactly where it was at. I just remember the particulars that literally happened once, where like somebody was like in a Meijer or like a Walmart. I think it was Walmart, when literally she was there with her kids and was sitting here with just the baby in the car seat. You know how they prop the car seats on the cart or whatever. And it was this cute little couple that just kind of ditzy looking or whatever, looked super harmless, and they're talking about the baby and blah, oh, she's so cute, blah, blah, blah. And they said something, and I'm kind of paraphrasing, I guess, to the tune of more or less like taking him or something similar, something kind of that threw the mom off, and then that's what kind of mom kind of triggered, like, what? But then come to find out, I guess they did wind up arresting this team, because while they were kind of like the distracting couple, there was somebody literally in the checkout over that was just that, like the snatch man or
Mm.
whatever that goes out, and they found him like in a van outside and all. But that stuff happens a lot and regularly. They use somebody that's a decoy like that. Hey, I'm in trouble and blah 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 blah. Matter of fact, I was on the work, and this real quick, but just going along with this
Mhm.
theme, I was on the way to work yesterday, and it's 6:30 in the morning, and I pull up on Outer Drive in Illinois, and I'm turning, and it's this chick standing outside, and she's kind of like waving folks down, and it's me and another car out, and she's looking the same kind of way, kind of rough, like she out here, like she kind of in trouble, and I'm sitting up here like, as soon as she see it, I already know how I do now, you know what I'm saying? But I'm like, nope, Nah, don't. I'm waving her off, whatever. I see her talking to the other car, and I'm thinking, don't do it. Don't do it because you don't know who else she out here with. Now, see her again this morning walking down the street on the phone. So apparently either something ain't right with her, which that's a whole nother issue or whatever, or yeah, she a setup person, and maybe she was faking on the phone this time and somebody else you never know. But it's stuff like that that you pull on your heartstrings when you're a good hearted person like me or like you and like her, and you go,
Mm-hmm.
dang, she need a ride somewhere. She in trouble. Let me, or she need this, that, and the third. And it take that just that split second that they,
You know, it's,
you know,
so also because I was, I'm a podcaster, so I try to do some research,
Yeah,
dig down on this little Google, this new thing they call a Google search. You can jump in there and tell you everything.
KJ's a journalist
I'm
now.
a journalist now, so I was trying to find information. I'm looking for like news story about it, like headlines, and it wasn't really like popped out. So I
Yeah.
had to go down and look some more. And one, I don't know what link it was, but it had like comments
Mm-hmm.
on it about just what you were saying. Like that's why I don't help people. You know what I'm saying? That's why I don't do this. I'd have just kept moving, da 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 da. And yeah, if that's why I don't help, people now on the side of the road or this, if I see a woman there sitting there, they were just all saying like, this is why I don't. And it's unfortunate that we come to a place that we can't help people.
That's what I was saying
You know what I'm saying?
earlier,
Because
yeah.
I grew up in the era, like in Southwest Detroit, that everybody knew everybody. So if somebody on the side of the road or up the street on Visco or wherever, they helped them. It wasn't that situation. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't that. Like, and like your sister, she had a kind heart. She wanted to help another. You know what I'm saying? She could have been like, okay,
Another mother.
She could have been going through the same thing I was going through, or didn't have somebody there to help me out. Whatever.
Right.
Let me talk to her. Let me help her. Let me see. It's unfortunate that she opened her heart, and you know what I'm saying, to that, and that situation happened. So, cause I was reading like, man, like I wouldn't. I'm like, man, y'all don't know what y'all would have did.
Yeah.
It might not have been that situation where it was
Right.
the kid. It could have been something else that triggered
Right.
you. Like, I need to help him.
Right.
But like and I tell, my wife, she works downtown, and it's late, but not like she works at Flood, but Flood's Bar and Grill, but it's 150 million cops down there, so there ain't nothing really popping off down there because is
Especially now after that Greektown incident, they
she said business is so slow. He said it's 10 cops on one corner, 10 cops like downtown is on lockdown.
Yes.
And that is maybe because it's a lot of other people down there besides us, so they want to keep them safe and all that. But I'm always coaching and telling like, look, do this, don't do that, whatever. Just kind of like educating her, help her. Like, look, I do what I do so I can help you understand what what's going on out here. It's not like we got to be on 10 on pivot on point all the time. It's just when I'm out, I'm watching, I'm searching, I'm looking, I'm saying, okay, that don't look right or whatever. Even when I help people, I say, I try to keep people at a distance.
It's a way you help, yeah.
It's a way you help. I try to keep people at a distance. Like you talk to me, like what you need. Okay, you don't have to come up on me in my space.
Right.
I can hear you. My ears work just fine.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, this is what you need. Okay, well, you got a phone, call them.
Right.
I try to help as much as possible, but it's unfortunate that we're in the day and age that we can't just pull up. Because I see people, women on the side of the road, a guy with the car, the tire flat or whatever, and it's late or whatever. I'm just like, man.
See, man, and here's where, because I'm the same way. I'm the dude that literally, I'll leave somewhere, and I've done it. I'll leave somewhere downtown, Greektown, with the leftovers, and if it's busy enough, like in the summer, if I see a homeless person out there, and I know I'm really not about to, dog, look, you need this more than me. I've literally legit have done it. You know what I'm saying? Look, here, you know what I'm saying? You hungry? If you're not, whatever. At least I did, to try to help. But now it's like, people will really show you who they are if you just, watch them long enough, or if you're in the same spot long enough. It's like, it's crazy. Like you said, I people watch, and I people watch on purpose. One, for entertainment purposes when you out in certain places, but then two, in situations like that. Man, it's a chick right now. Well, I ain't seen her in a while, but that Meyer on 8 Mile in Woodward. Sat there one day. She pulled up on me outside. No, she was in the store, walking around asking people for gas money because she needed gas to, get blah, blah, blah. She was on her last, da, da, da. I ain't got it. I ain't really, so when I stopped even carrying cash, I don't really have it, blah, blah, blah. About a week later, I'm in the parking lot this time in my car. She pulled up on me in the car. Excuse me, sir. I need I'm trying to get some gas money so I can get back to my house and da da da. First of all, you in your car
Mm.
and you driving.
You
That's
pulled
number
up
2.
on me.
Mm-hmm.
Number 3, you pulled up on me. Number 4, you're not smart enough to realize that I just saw you like 2
Mm-hmm.
days ago in
Mm-hmm.
the store and you already asked me this. So it's like, yeah, not everybody's good with faces, but I remember you with this same story,
Mm-hmm.
like I said, like 2-3 days ago. Like, nah, get the fuck out of
Mm-hmm.
here. What
Mm-hmm.
you know? So it's like that's the running theme, and it's like, man,
You know, as a woman, I know I certainly, since this situation, I've certainly had to go back and just reevaluate some of the things that I've even
hmm
done. And, again, just out of the kindness of my heart. I mean, I remember a time when I was, I want to say I was up at Tim Hortons right here in Southfield. And this guy approached my car and he said, I got a family in here, and I just don't have any money. Do you have anything? And I don't carry cash either. So I didn't have any cash to give him. And also, I mean, I wouldn't have felt safe to just hand him over any
right,
cash.
right,
But I said, well, I mean, we can walk inside and I can get you something. So, I mean, I did that. But even allowing him to be that close, again, he said family. He said he had a
hmm
whole family that didn't have anything to eat. And though it wasn't my problem, but as a fellow human, it was,
human,
it
yeah,
had to, at that time, it was my problem too. But now it's like, that could have easily been me. That could have
hmm
easily, I let him too close into my personal space to even ask the question. So and then again once I placed the order, I paid for it, I left. I didn't wait around,
hmm
or anything. So, but even still, now if that very same thing were to happen, just because of this situation that I'm living through,
hmm
from my sister, I mean, you can forget about it. Nah, I ain't got nothing.
right,
I ain't got
That
I,
that
not, number one. I'm not even. I'm about to be like, I ain't rolling windows down.
right,
I'm pulling off. I mean,
right,
and it makes our heart a little bit more hardened and
hmm
callous. And it's when that's not who that's not who I was a
right,
year ago for sure. But that's who I am today.
hmm
And then first, and I just feel so sorry for the person that really does need it.
yeah.
And now we've all been so jaded that now
That's
it's
what I was
too
about to
late.
say. That's my word. I'm jaded to society now, dude.
and that was gonna be a question. I was like, do you move different now because
Yeah,
of this
man, I
situation?
move differently. Absolutely. Yeah, I certainly move differently. It's I'm side eyeing everybody. I
What
mean,
you what you up to?
well, I know everybody. I'm side eyeing. It's like it just you get older, you get wiser. But then I mean, when I say the hard knock lessons of life,
Yeah,
whoosh. I mean that'll grow you up faster than anything else. And I know I done grew up this whole
yeah.
year for sure.
And it's funny because people be like, "Why you tripping? Why you like tone is everything? Like you come up
hmm
if I'm over my family, kids, and they tell me, can I get a cup? No, it's like it's
Right,
a
right,
hard
right,
loud no, bro. You good?
right,
It's like
right.
they
It's
tone like
audible. Yeah,
it's
that's
But
audible.
we
wait,
we
but
It's
I
teach that
mean,
in
all.
classes too. And look and see what she really trying to tell everybody in a soft way is she not. And I don't want to blow up your spot, but she got 3 burners and a flamethrower on her at all times.
Got it on me.
You know, she got that thing on her
Hey,
now. She
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 trying to be smooth and
she
soft
had
about it, but she
asked me a
trying to let
long
y'all know,
time
like,
ago, back
hey,
in the day,
I
like,
got
yeah,
that Whopper.
Kevin, I need you to help. I'm like, look, whatever you
Say
need,
less.
just
uh-huh.
Yeah.
I'm on it. Now she may, she may be, she may be calling down the line, like, hey, we really need to go out, and you really need to help me, teach me some things or two. But
No, but like I mean, just in terms of just being just a woman, y'all, and like a man, y'all remember back in the day. I mean, we all in the same age group.
Right, right.
Back in the day, you used to go out, ask a lady for the number. She'd be
hmm
like, "Okay, she gonna give it to you or not." Nowadays, that
Oh
you said,
man.
you talk about a hard no. I mean, women
Man.
have been killed for the hard no's.
Man, I'm
It's
about to say
like,
that burns me up, dude. That kills me. That not but that eats at me right there. Like I've heard too many of them stories. Like
yeah,
she told you no,
yeah.
so you shot her. It's like,
but
dog, they outnumber us like 7-1. Like what is
You go ask the next one.
what
So
what
yeah.
what you
But see, and,
doing?
and that was like my thing. Like, okay, so she's saying that because look, she been through some of her something. She telling
Yeah,
you right, no.
right.
That
No,
means
no.
exactly how she
Hello.
said it.
But
It
now,
means
yeah, but now you
people
got to
sensitive.
strategically think,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah,
you know what? A man asking me for my number, I can't just outright say no. I'm going to say, smiling, huh, or whatever. I mean, stuff
right,
that you just got to sit there and say, okay, what's my best play here?
right.
And just I think, to your credit, you just mentioned just trying to train yourself for the situation.
Yeah,
It's like all of these, your brain, you got to be aware and alert because
yeah,
you got to be
You gotta
prepared to
watch it.
either give them the hard no, or you got to be prepared to kind of soften it up so that you're not giving them so hard of a no
right,
that it's hurting their
right,
egos to the point that they about to take you out anyway.
right,
It's just this world we living
And
in.
then
right.
now you got your bag on you. They may drop a toe tag in the bag or on your car.
Yeah, them
It's
Yeah.
tags,
it's yeah,
man.
yeah. I got a partner, the EDC guy Ron. He has a whole presentation on woman awareness, and it's
Hmm.
about just that thing like abduction, kidnapping, women getting kidnapped. And he got to it tells you about everything, every tool they're using to with stuff in your drinks and all kind of
Hmm.
different things. So he got a definitely a good presentation about it. And then I got a niece in Chicago. And when she goes out, I had to. She grew up in the bubble, so I had to tell her like, look, don't walk away from your drink. Don't do this.
Hmm.
Don't let nobody bring you a drink. Buy your own
Hmm.
drinks. You know what I'm saying? Buy him a drink and then have it
Hmm.
come to him. Don't let nobody bring you nothing.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So, things like that. I be trying to, put my niece up on game because, she's in the bubble. She didn't grow up in the neighborhood we grew up in,
Right,
especially back in the day.
right.
So it was, it's a lesson, like you said, but it's a different world out here now too. Let me ask you this: who's keeping you grounded during this whole ordeal?
Yeah. I do feel like I have really done a complete transformation where I don't feel like I'm the same person. I definitely feel like I'm a different person today.
Hmm.
And just really trying to really understand what that means for myself and just kind of, grow through the journey. But, family is everything. My husband, Mike, he's always kind of like the one he's the calm one of the two of us. I'm probably the hype one.
Give Mike some shots.
you know, So Mike, Mike kind of ready to, calm me down a little bit, if I start getting too hyped. And so he's
That's cool.
my balance. And then,
That's how
my
my wife is. I'm the calmer. Like, no, go over there and have. Let's just figure
yeah,
out
yeah, yeah,
what's
yeah,
what.
yeah. Let's talk it out. Let's talk
Let's.
it out. Yeah, yeah, just
She
calm
she
down.
active.
Hey,
She
hey,
active. She active, bro.
hey, you like why we're like you see the Instagram reel where old girl they in the gym and she like him right over there.
Oh,
What he do? He grabbed my ass and I told him I was gonna get my husband to come kick his ass and he's like some old Street Fighter character flipping and doing all kind of stuff
he
to the
like him
bag.
over there.
Yeah,
Him.
I'm trying to figure out what really happened because my so yeah, that's
Yeah,
I
well,
know.
she active. She
Yeah.
she active. She right there. She active. Ain't no chill. It's active. It's on
I,
popping.
and I think I say too, my outside of my home, the other place that I spend the majority of my time is at work. And,
Yeah.
up at the shop, that's, we might be there more than we are at home. And so my shop family, my team, they let me do me. I had this whole, like I said, this whole year I've been just, growing and evolving and just, things have just changed. Whereas before I'm like, the definition of strength to me was not showing any sign of weakness or not
Right.
showing any emotion and just being just very much so, just presenting strong.
Right.
Um, and this year, I wasn't afforded that strength, to just present strong and not have breakdowns and all that stuff.
Right.
So, I done been caught at the shop boohoo crying right in the middle of doing shirts.
Oh yeah. It's
And,
understandable.
the fact that, the type of person I am, the second somebody asks me, "Are you okay?" or do something like that, that I'm like I fall apart. Understand that if you ever catch me crying, I am holding it. That right there is probably the little bit that I'm allowing to come out. But
Hmm.
you acknowledge it, then I'm about to fall apart.
Well,
Right.
So they just let
it's
me
it's
do me.
it's not healthy to keep
It's
it
not.
in. It's
It's
not
not.
healthy.
Yeah.
Men we keep it in. Our shoulders is heavy, but it's not healthy to keep it in. You got
That's
to
a
let
whole
it
nother
out.
show right there.
It
We
is.
probably gonna talk about something like that on one of Dre's shows too, but that's
Uh,
a whole nother.
but I mean, it's
But
bad
yeah,
energy.
but you're right though. Yeah,
You gotta let it
You
out,
gotta let it
and
out.
then I'm
yeah,
I'm I'm glad you have. Everybody don't have a place they can go as joy. You know what
yeah,
I'm saying? Situations as dark as that, you
yeah,
may just be in a corner in that dark place and you just keep it.
Yeah.
But you have a place that your family that's around you that love you,
Good support system.
Yeah.
system that's joy. And then she
Mhm.
make videos. They in there doing
Yeah.
something or I don't know. Just they got stories going on.
Mhm.
She got she always posting stuff up. So that was I'm glad that's there for you. That
Yeah, for
support
sure.
system.
And and a wise man told me that your organs, they'll reap what the tears can't shed. So, I said,
Mm. That's a
well,
good one.
dang, that's a good one. That's a good one. We got all of this stuff that we fighting with, internal illness, sickness,
Mhm.
blood pressure, diabetes, just stuff that we holding on to and that we
Right.
battling and we, thinking that, it's that we need medication and we need all these things.
Right.
But if we just allow ourselves to just release and
Mhm.
like you said, to let go of that negative energy,
To
I
heal.
mean, it's a reason we got tears, I guess, there's a reason God didn't give us tears for nothing.
Hey,
Right.
being a black man in America, you gonna look angry some of the time. So let me ask you this: how is the niece and then she got two boys? She had a boy and a
A
girl.
boy and a girl,
How they
yeah.
doing?
Yeah, so, kids are resilient, I mean, shockingly so. I find,
What are their age groups?
yeah, so we got one entering high school, so yep, 15, and then we have the baby she's the girl and she's 7.
Okay.
So, we got the so we got somebody kind of going through the older son, he's going through
Mhm.
adolescence and that's tough whether you got your mom or
Right.
not,
Right.
How's
And
that?
my kids' ages, so I
Yeah.
understand. Yeah.
How is he doing?
Yeah, so I would say in terms of the two, he's probably I would say he knew her the longest, and
Mhm.
so he I would say it you could see it on him I guess a little bit
Mhm.
more. They
Mhm.
both present very strong though. They both present very strong to the point where I do know I have some of my my actually my brother, he said, he couldn't even bring himself to have a conversation with the kids because he
Right.
felt like he was going to break down.
Right.
And
Right.
I,
I feel that.
and
I feel
so
that.
I mean, the way they present, it's like, no, you should reach out to them. Like low key, they probably stronger than you. They might like
Right.
pat you on the back a little bit,
Right.
But just the just to see them continue to move forward. There are some times, they're in therapy. Thankfully,
Mhm.
their dad, is an advocate for therapy,
Okay. Good.
so they're going through the process of that, and they're just understanding the grieving process and just allowing themselves to have those moments. But but my niece, she said, she mentioned things like, why does everybody else have a mom and I don't?
Mm.
Things like that. Or
She's at that
she'll
age.
she's at that age,
Mhm.
or different, spiritual things,
Mhm.
like I think I saw my mom as an angel today in the at the playground.
Mhm.
And it's like, you know, they are, like I said, very much so embracing. They're not saying, "Oh no," they're not discrediting what she feels like she sees,
Right.
but just seeing the spiritual connection now, everybody always says they're not gone, they're always with you.
Mhm.
But and that was more to me prior to me experiencing such a close death. I felt like that was cliche, like
Mhm.
that's what you say to make somebody feel better. They're always here. They're,
Hmm.
they're not gone. They're right with you. But I know for a fact I have had several experiences
Mhm.
where I'm like I'm straight up talking to her like, okay, okay, like I see
Mhm.
you. But there was one that was low key crazy. My my niece and nephew and my brother-in-law. He'd always be my brother-in-law. They still live out in they still live in Maryland. They still live in the
Okay.
DMV area. And so it was recently. It was close to, I want to say, my sister's. It was either her birth date or it was her death date. It was something
Mhm.
like that that was significant to her. But they had opened up the door and a bird flew in. Now,
Mm.
a bird flies in, everybody like, oh my God, it's going crazy, in the living room. But y'all, this bird, it flew, and while they all going crazy recording, it flew to the top of this shelf where my sister's picture is, and it
Mm.
sat there. I was like, okay, that gave me chills. Like,
Mhm.
like that gave me chills. So
Mhm.
just kind of seeing like, okay, well, she's still here.
Yep.
It does help you get through the days a little bit better.
Mhm. Oh,
Yeah.
dude, look. I'm a firm believer in some things you don't believe until it happens to you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a firm believer in that because not going into it right now, but I had an instance like that, bro, I ain't gonna lie, I cried. I cried like a little schoolgirl because of who it was, what they meant to me, and just figuring out, like you said, sometimes it's like around events like that because talking to somebody else in family, they literally had the exact same experience, the exact same day and more or less time frame, and from what they meant to that person too. And it was like, really? So literally, we had a moment on the phone together too, because it was like, wow. Because you always say like, hey, this, that, and the third. Tell your ancestors or the people that have,
Right.
when you have little kids, like, hey, watch over the babies, blah blah blah. But you're not just saying it, and it's a lot, and it's probably been more stuff that's happened that we don't really pay attention to. That's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Grandma telling you don't do something because something fall out of nowhere, and you like this house haunted, isn't it?
Yeah.
No, it ain't really that the house haunted. It's that grandma trying to
Yeah.
tell you, look,
Yeah.
boy, you better not mess up my so and so recipe or putting that
Trying
sugar
to
in
get
them
your
grits
attention.
or whatever it is. But yeah,
Man, my daughter, so my father passed. He might have been past 5 or 6 years. My daughter, she be like, I miss Papa. She would just say it. But then she'll say some random thing that only he would say. There's no way that she knew that he used to say that. And me and my mom, my mom's skittish. When she sees stuff like that, like the bird, she be out like time to go. Like she, like she, oh no, I gotta go. So she heard my daughter say it. She's like, she knows she said what Papa used to say. I was like, no, I ain't here. She's like, yeah, I gotta go. She's just she just skittish like that. Cause our background, like my aunt was the what you want to call her, Auntie Faye. Stayed in the house, creepy house. She played, had the cards. That's how she made the living. So she was a tarot card reader.
Okay.
She was like old ancient, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Old Louisiana, Mississippi,
know
that Mississippi, old like, man, when y'all go,
tarot, I know how that.
Don't leave me over here with Auntie.
Yeah.
I'm not staying in this house.
Auntie low key reading you without you even knowing
Right.
it.
She comes down this table. She was like that. You know what I'm saying? So my mom's like, oh, your baby touched, or we got to touch. Like, cause she would just say something off the wall, like my dad would say, and then it would be like, it's no way she knew that. And it's like, yeah, see, them kids be knowing. And she'd be in the room talking to herself or having fun, just laughing and giggling. I'm gonna leave you alone in there. Whoever it is, I hope you good people. But I'm gonna leave you alone in there. So they be knowing, man. They be knowing.
They do.
Them kids be knowing. But also, so where is the investigation at right now?
Yeah, so the investigation, we, like I said, the police, I don't feel like they have really done enough. We have had countless calls, countless text messaging, with no responses. My mother and I, we even flew out to DC and just walked up in the precinct. They didn't even come down to acknowledge our presence. They told us they'd call us the next day. We were flying out the next day. And I still didn't receive a call the next day either, by the way. So we have that. The lieutenant got involved, and he mentioned that he was very much so apologetic of the lack of communication. I spoke with them both last week, or excuse me, just a few days ago, for the first time, this year. And they told me that, number one, unfortunately, the caseload is heavy, and that, they just received 4 cases in that day, and and so how it works is the fresher the case, I guess, the more
Attention it may get.
attention it gets, right?
That is.
And then the other cases kind of get lower on the totem pole.
Cold cases.
And so, I said, well, I know we're very much so, we understand that they live in a huge, huge, metropolitan area that is the urban area that's, you're going to have a lot more, traffic, with that. But I just don't want my sister's case just to be discarded. So I'm gonna be calling. So I mean, it's like y'all, if y'all just want to hear me call every week, or y'all want me to keep showing up on social media saying that y'all still not answering the phone. It's like if y'all want me to shut up, all y'all got to do is let's get to work. And I don't have unrealistic expectations. I understand stuff takes time. I just want to see that it's actually moving.
Right.
I did receive one positive piece of news, and the positive piece of news that I got this past week was that they did have a positive identification on some prints that were in the car. So now they know
Mm,
who it is. They, obviously wouldn't let us know that information, nor would I,
right.
push to ask because,
Right.
again, that's not my business. I want y'all to find the person.
Right.
But I just, I still said something about the fact that it took an entire year to even get
Right.
positive
Right.
ID on the prints. Number one,
Right.
it seems like they just had to hurry up and get an answer for me so that they had something to present at the phone call. But after that, it was nothing else. They really didn't have anybody else, have anything else to say outside of the fact that now they know who they're looking for, and now that they've put all of the things in the system so that if they get stopped or if they run into any type of issue with the law, then they'll be brought in for questioning. What I told them is that from this point going forward, I want to make sure that we are making our monthly meetings and having these conversations. And so the next one, like I mentioned earlier, my expectation for the next meeting is that we would have had some movement in that Cash App report to understand what that Cash App report said. But, here I am in Michigan, no law
Right.
degree,
Right.
no law enforcement training.
You can figure some of this stuff out on your own.
Hell, I work in t-shirts,
Right.
I mean, and why am I, why am I sitting there creating the logistics? This is what the
Right.
meeting agenda is going to be.
Right.
And, that
Right.
right there, some of these things, y'all, to me, it just seems like, and I said it earlier in jest, and I said it, in more of a, sarcastic way to the detective also, but I'm like, geesh, the movies, yeah, we would have thought that, based on the movies, this thing would have been open and shut, and you understand that we don't live in a movie, but still, it's like, well, all of these facts, like, it just doesn't seem like I should be doing the type of work that I've been doing, and
Right.
that's his job.
So do you think
About 10 minutes.
if you wouldn't have been on it like you were, that had been just kicked under the rug?
Oh, absolutely. Oh, without question. Not only kicked under the rug, um, it would have just sat there with
Mhm.
nothing because I just think that it's now that they are actually realizing the fact that this is not just somebody these are not people that are just gonna go away.
Right.
The my social media crew, my folks, I got to figure out
Hmm.
a name to call them because they just been riding with me so tough. They've been blowing up the DC police departments, calling. What's up with Caleb Barfield's case? Can we get an update? Has there been any movement? And not that they're necessarily. I don't believe that they're necessarily expecting an answer because they can't give answers to non-family members. But the fact that now they're like, okay, wait a minute, who is this Caleb Barfield? Like, why is
They're not
everybody on
letting
our
this
head?
go.
They're not
Right.
letting us go. We better get this off our case, otherwise,
Somebody seen a good thing. Well, social media. Somebody that see to pick it up and be like, "Ooh,
hmm
I might better use this, like you said, as an avenue to
you got it.
strategically to up my presence in DC or up my, you know what I'm saying?
Use
Use
it.
it,
Hmm.
Use
use
it.
it.
Use it. This is
Right.
this is gold. Use this for career advancement. Use this for social media influencers
Hmm.
as the next hot story that's gonna go viral.
Hmm.
Whatever it takes to get the story out, to get the
Right.
right eyes on it. I mean, that's how some of these other big cases, how they've
Right.
gotten brought
Right.
to our awareness. Wasn't
Right.
that it just happened the day before? These families, they got up and they just start talking.
Right.
Right. So also, and we about to wrap it up.
Hey man,
You
and before we do, I'm just saying, like you said, putting it. If it was me, man, I'd have been leaving detective by now. You'd have had it.
Okay.
Hey man, look, especially when you said that they got the prince. Hey,
Okay.
look, we about to go pick him up tomorrow.
Yep.
You ain't got to
Okay.
worry about
like you
that.
said, you in DC. Come on, I'm gonna call in a favor at somebody at whatever that next step is defense. Like, hey man,
Yeah.
run this. Who is this? Oh,
Yeah.
that's such.
hmm
Okay. Hey, we got this in the bag.
Right.
I might need a backup or
hmm
two. Send some homies. Send some of your
Right.
your partners just sitting there. Back me up and go
Right.
grab this dude or grab these people.
Right.
But you created you created was it a GoFundMe or
Yeah.
something? So put that out there so we can have it and they can know because I'm gonna post it with the content on YouTube and everything I do with it so
Right.
they'll know.
And I appreciate that. Yeah. So we created a Justice for Kayla GoFundMe page. And the reason behind the GoFundMe is to seek out a private detective to
Right.
try to do some of the deeper digging that, the police aren't doing. Maybe tap into some old surveillance that maybe the
Hmm.
police won't go into because it's too time consuming. And any type of overage that we receive um, outside of the cost that it would take in order to pay the private detective, the plan is to create a foundation that would give back to kids that have lost their parents tragically at
Okay.
an early age. So,
Okay.
the intention is to have my sister's legacy not be defined by such a traumatic event,
Right.
but to actually turn it into something where, where it's going to actually just pour into people's lives, change people's lives for the better, and everybody, ultimately will know my sister's name.
Flipping a negative to a positive. That's a
Got it.
great
So
thing.
now, is this information on what's is it on your website, the business website?
So it isn't right now. Really, the main information, the GoFundMe is under Justice for Kayla, and the all of the just updates, just getting more updates, more information. Right now, I don't have a hub, in terms of a website to just post that. That's a good idea. But right now, if you follow me on my social media platforms, especially my TikTok, I'm a little bit more active there with my updates. But on my TikTok, it's my name, Jana McDougall. My Instagram is Jana McDougall, and I even post on the Print Heads page, my business page, occasionally with updates in more information. But if you're interested in just following the story and just getting more information and just seeing how things are progressing along, just follow us there. And but my job is now that everybody is so invested in the story, my job is now not to just keep the information to myself, is to share what's happening, my grieving process in hopes that, me living transparently can help somebody else also.
5 minutes.
So I'm glad you were. I appreciate that you coming on the show. Like I said, I was trying to get you on. You was on my list to come on regardless of this situation, just because, like I said, I admired your hustle and everything you're doing with the print heads. Like the print heads would be like official. This episode was presented to you by the print heads. So if you need some gear and swag created and printed up, definitely go see them. But like I said, I admired the hustle. And then all this happened. I was like, look, I want to tell this story. I want this to be on here. So I appreciate
Right.
you making time for us to come
Yeah.
on.
Thank you for being here.
And then like fitting this in your busy schedule on
Mhm.
Sunday. You know what I'm saying? I know I the family. She got kids, husband, and I was gone all yesterday. Wifey probably gonna be on my head today. I may be gone too before she go to work. But it is what it is. She got my back, so we all good. Like I said, but all your information, please give it to me. I didn't even know you had the other Instagram. I just followed the print heads. So get that to me so I can post it, put it on the Facebook, put it on the gram, TikTok, all that. They repost it, so we all try to
Mhm.
repost all our stuff so more people see it, and hopefully we get some more traction. And then we'll talk to you after the show about some things we knew, or some other stuff. So that's it from us, man. Look, game recognize game. We recognize you, so please recognize us.